What was your first experience with modding? For many of us, it was probably Skyrim or possibly Half-Life. For me, I never get tired of seeing people's outright passion for their strange subcultures or communities. It is always sincerely beautiful in a way, but every now and again there's a mod that blows your absolute socks off. And well, the mod you've been seeing in the background is doing exactly that. Now I know some of you who play Blade and Sorcery are saying this looks a little familiar, and it should. There are countless videos made of its predecessor, but not so many on the new and improved version. What makes this mod so much better than its predecessor is just how good it feels to progress through the progress of it. Starting off with the ability to summon one dagger, and every now and again get a hit. But let's be honest, we're probably spamming it. You see, the big problem I had with the first mod was just how many things broke, which is understandable given how many complex things the mod author was doing. Summoning daggers, creating a shield out of daggers at the drop of a hat, so on and so forth. Needless to say, it oftentimes felt a little overwhelming and frankly plainly unclear, but having just enough time to progress through every upgrade to give you time to acclimate was the perfect antidote to that, and was such a nice add, as well as a lot of the abilities were not nearly as complex as they were before. The things you can do are incredible, everything from being able to create a claw-like grip with your fists full of daggers, Wolverine would be proud, or to have a dagger that double taps an enemy that you hit is next level satisfying. Or if you want it just to be a little bit broken, then you can turn those floating daggers into a makeshift bow that can be released like a shotgun blast of daggers or a machine gun giving you more than enough bang for your buck. But I know what you're thinking. That looks a little OP, doesn't it? But surprisingly, it's not. Or at least it's the right kind of OP, I guess. Overpowered in the sense that if you get good at lining things up and know which situation calls for what, then you can get by pretty well. Granted, you still sometimes miss your daggers because lining things up can be a little tricky, especially when enemies keep pushing on you. Well, as Blade and Sorcery's magic and upgrades tend to be, when you finally progress to the final upgrade tree, things get a little bit nutty. First things first, I only have 70% of the skill trees unlocked, and I'm already overjoyed. So again, they could possibly get even more crazy. But the ending connecting capstones all seem to be next level flashy at the very least. But the default capstone of dagger bending is nothing to sneeze at either. By dual charging the dagger bending spell in your hands, you can channel a spiraling Gatling gun effect that spews out a seemingly never-ending amount of knives. Accuracy be damned, frankly, and with some more upgrades you can increase that ludicrous number even more, resulting in even more knives, so long as you have the dagger pouches to back that up. Along with that, you're also able to create a circling knife trap that absolutely obliterates your enemy's ankles, along with the ability to mark enemies with a single point of your finger and then start casting knives only to have them heat seek on their head. But, like I said before, the really crazy stuff happens when you start to merge max investment capstones with dagger bending's capstone as well. Unfortunately, this only seems to really work with elemental and telekinetic skill trees. So for now, all I can show you is Gravity's capstone as well as Telekinesis's, which Telekinesis is the point and throw knives and they just happen to arrive at an enemy's head and can curve around corners and such like that. Very cool. But back to Gravity. Combining Gravity and dagger bending creates this cyclone torrent of daggers filled with gravity magic, spiraling around you like a chainsaw. Also, did I happen to mention that gravity-infused daggers also have a plethora of fantastic effects, like tethering enemies to walls, although that's a little finicky, and pushing enemies like 10 feet back, which feels oh so satisfying. Frankly, connecting dagger bending to the aforementioned elements just makes you feel like a mage throwing around really heavy magic, i.e. magic that has a blade within it. Yeah, it's like metal magic as well. If that was an element, it's an element, but still, you know what I mean. With the sheer volume of daggers you're outputting, you can basically cripple every kind of armor, although armor is still the thing that puts up the biggest threat. Okay, I know after seeing all that, some people out there might very well be saying, oh great, feeling more OP in a game that already has questionable AI, but funnily enough, I never felt downright OP with a lot of these powers, because with a lot of these you still need to perform, when it comes to not only thinking of what to implement, but also the situations that call for what. And that, my friends, is the main reason why I think this mod is so special, especially when it comes to overall magic in VR. There are a lot of magic mods, and I imagine there will only be more in the coming months. What makes this so special is that it feels so much like a true solution. A solution to the question that is magic in VR. Magic in every VR game is largely the same skill tree you've seen before. As you progress down it, you get more damage, maybe you do more critical damage, maybe, just maybe, you have ability cooldown, or possibly can cast one extra spell. Having 2 charges in total, isn't that fun? And frankly, usually the warrior swordsman skill tree is just as uninspired. It has me feeling like all of the answers are just downright soulless in a lot of ways. Magic to me was always supposed to be the strategist and engineer's wet dream. The ability to create and make solutions on the spot that best gets you to point A to point B. And that is exactly the feeling you get playing this mod, using your variety of skills to best accommodate each circumstance. Oh, there's an enemy far away? Use your dagger-like bow to knock them dead. Maybe that enemy happens to be armored and is proceeding to run at you. Chamber 5 daggers in that bow shot and knock it into his chest, at the very least knocking him off balance. Maybe an enemy finally bridges the gap. What do? Well, you could summon your bear-like fist covered in knives to smash him in the head. Maybe you enter a room that is absolutely maxed out with enemies, only to then put a trap in the hallway, aggro all of them and run into that room, and for you to pick them off as they enter into your trap. Maybe you finally have 4 enemies that surround you, only for you to summon a torrent of gravity-infused daggers that dance around you, keeping them at bay, giving you time to think or drive straight into them. These moments happen again and again when you're playing. This is something uncannily special to VR, especially with its capacity to take something simple and make it super complex. Take the simple action of sword swinging in a video game. It's oftentimes just a strike right in front of you, but in VR you can push a blade to the side, get in, jab through the neck, do a lunge, do everything. And it's so fantastic to see Magic finally catch up. Magic having as much diversity and brilliant application just like swordplay does. Hell, maybe even more. But that's what makes this so damn brilliant, and why it also never feels too OP. At least not for all of the circumstances you can play in Blade and Sorcery, where there's like 100 enemies sometimes pushing into you and happen to be all covered in armor, and holy shit is that tough. But also if you're able to overcome that by utilizing each one of the magic answers given the situation, oh boy is it satisfying. I sincerely hope every VR game takes so much time and consideration when it comes to thinking up fun and useful creative ways to overcome the creative situations you happen to find yourself in. Hats off to the brilliant mod author named Linica, who is already an absolute legend in the community, but I think what you did here is something extremely special, especially in regards to slowly introducing every skill given how you level up in Blade Sorcery, as well as just how fun a lot of the skills end up being. All of those things, especially the progression, made this mod stand out in such a massive way, even more than some of Linica's already extremely iconic mods such as Mystic Hands and Lash, I believe is what it's called. Granted, I also hope those get updated, albeit probably a smaller update treatment, but still, love those mods to bits. I also think Dagger Bending might have had a really special place in Linica's heart, because it was probably one of the first-ish mods to really pop like crazy. It also showed me how powerful not only Blade and Sorcery was, but also just how cool it would be to have an RPG that had this much care into its skill trees. Granted, that's honestly rare just within like fully AAA games to find any sort of, again, it's the same like increased critical damage when you, I don't know, hit them on the head maybe, who cares? It's progression, I guess. It does not unlike any gameplay. It's the same attack pattern I've known 20 times. Great. Oh, that's so fun. Love it. I'm going to play. I was so locked in. And last, please go check out this mod and support everything and anything that Linica does. Of course, how you actually get access to this mod is not through Nexus or anything like that. It is acquired by going to Linica's Discord and then going to the mod section. Believe you me, if you have PC VR, you gotta play this. And also, it's not terribly optimized. I didn't find like it beat the shit out of my PC or anything like that. And just because I don't know where to put this, I had this thought the whole time I was playing with the mod. Holy moly, man. I would love it so badly if eye tracking became the gold standard of VR, because imagine how absolutely amazing it would be to look at an enemy and to have that kind of course correct your daggers, if not just using magic in VR, which is controlled by your eyes, because in VR we really have to point and it feels hella finicky, but just to do it by your eyes, people talk about like Apple Vision Pro, it's just magic how when you look it does that. Yeah, but what if it was actually, what if you used it in magic return? It'd be so good. Anyway, what if like given the the place you look on an enemy, it would change like the way your magic interacts. Like if you look at the leg and you cast a spell, it would like a vine would like tie up their leg. If you look at their head and cast a spell, it would wrap like a vine around their face, blinding them. Probably like 20 years off from anything like that. But I thought it'd be real cool. And again, here's hoping we have an eye-tracked headset that's also not garbage. I think it'd be absolutely fantastic. I love you so much. Hopefully enjoy the rest of your day. Support Lineker like crazy. We also upload probably once a week, so if you wanted to subscribe or something, you could. It's fine. It's fine. Just it's like subscribe. Gross. Disgust me. And I get it. It's fine. It doesn't feel great, but it's fine. It's fine.